J.S. Russell, the freedom poet, coming to you live from the kitchen. Yeah, like a Gotti, right? And it's ironic because I remember being in that kitchen, cooking up stuff in grandma coffee cups. So I slowed it down. You know what I'm saying, that stove work, dropping stuff. But this is something a little different. Got another type of straight drop right here. This behind the wall mentors really trying to put things out here for this youth to change their trajectory. Cause that stuff that I was doing led me into prison. That's where I ain't trying to be. That ain't where I want to see none of these youngins. So Slim used to have this song, standing in the kitchen over the stove, just water whip. See, that was the soundtrack of my life back then. And it's crazy how, you know what I'm saying, music has an influence. Not to say that it made me do anything, but in this in this magazine, I'm gonna read you this article that I did. Well, I wrote a couple of them, but there's one way too real. Just to let you know the type of content we putting out there for the youth. Now we got financial literacy, everything in here, different stories from young guys. But I'm gonna go ahead and read this to you. I'm listening to Boosie, Wrong Role Models, thinking about how real that was in my upbringing. I remember spending summers in Jersey, soaking up everything that my older cousins and their friends were exposing me to. I recall when my aunt would be gone, all of my cousins' friends would come through, and the chronic bitches ain't shit would be continuously playing. I've observed their style, how they communicated with each other, and what they were interested in. It would be those summers that would have a strong influence on the standards of how I should handle situations and carry myself. From watching movies like Menace to Society to Casino, everything was geared towards being a gangster and hard. I recall my cousin speaking proudly about Camden being the murder capital. I didn't know how terrible a thing that was, um, but I do remember the news reporting about DC being a city under siege due to the violence during the height of the crack epidemic. Even away from my cousins, Snoop, Ghetto Boys, or Bone Thugs were speaking to me. There was a war between the coasts, with two of the most powerful rappers at the time telling me real niggas do real things and hit 'em up. In the midst of that, two more rappers who risen to the top told me of how the thing goes blow would give me power and educated me on things like grossing in a fiscal year or having Jews appraised. It wouldn't be long until I was off the porch. Project Pat and BG were my favorite rappers at the time. It seemed to me that the stories telling that they did in their rhymes were so authentic, and I could feel them from some of the struggles that I was then going through as a teen. I had no idea of the road that I would travel. Though some of these rappers tell of the pitfalls and horrors of street life, it gets lost somewhere between the beat and the fact that they were selling something. About 11 years ago, when I was out there, Yo Gotti had a mixtape, CM 4.5. It's been a little over 12 years now, though. I thought he was talking about me. I was copping 4.5, which is 125 grams, and doing much of what was expected of someone in the streets. I'd be listening to Gucci with my arm hanging out the window of the two-door Vic to show off my Movado and pinky ring blinking, and occasionally making it ring in the strip joint. Much of what I was doing was attracting the wrong attention, such as police, broke niggas, and haters. None of what I had protected me from prison. It couldn't even help with my defense attorney or my stay in the county jail. No one tells of how powerless you feel when you're incarcerated and can't get the simplest of things done. I lost a lot because other people didn't care about my stuff like I did. I experienced a lot of heartbreak discovering people didn't care about me like I cared about them. Now, when I have talks with my teenage daughter and she tells me about whom she is listening to, I tell her how I feel. Some of what the young dudes rap about gives me anxiety because when they talk about that murder shit and I'm in here doing all this time, I feel like they don't have a clue. Some of the rappers are unfortunately suffering the consequences of that life. My heart goes out to them and their families. I'm real with my daughter and I explain that much of what she listens to is entertainment, I let her know about how every time I rode around with a pistol, I knew I was carrying at least 5 years in prison. She's living through the reality with me of what happens when it's used. I still listen to that gangster shit. Gotti, Bags, Youngster, Gates, Kodak, amongst a number of artists, old and young. The difference now is that I pray for the young folks who are getting the wrong guidance. I pray for the artists who haven't been able to fully escape that life or think that they have to uphold an image. I pray that I can create change so that fewer youth had to end up like me. A popular go-go song I used to listen to said, I got visions of po-pos, visions of sirens, visions of handcuffs coming up in my dreams. Be careful of what you allow to make an impression on your mind because it might come true. I wish I had. Now, there's a lot of different stories and different tools that can be used by young adults, older adults, whether you're incarcerated or not. But this right here be a powerful tool for reaching the youth. And so I definitely say that anybody that wants to get this to be able to help, we're trying to get it in the juvenile facilities. I'm really trying to get it into everybody's hands as possible. Go to authorseangardner.net. That's my old cell buddy and the founder of the BTW Mentors. We put this together while we was in prison. I don't know what too many people doing things like this. This is impressive. I urge anybody to go ahead and check this out. That's again, authorseangardner.net. See about getting you a copy of this. See about putting this in as many hands as possible. And let's work on getting these men out here. Because that's my team, and I figure like we can do great work together out here in this free world, helping make a change. J.S. Russell, the Freedom Poet.